my name is Nicole Gregoire, and today I'll be talking about stress and stress management. I will talk about the causes of stress, how to manage stress, and the signs and symptoms of stress. First off, the basic definition of stress is the body's reaction to a change that requires a physical, mental, or emotional adjustment or response. Stress can come from any type of situation or even thought that makes you feel frustrated, angry, nervous, or even anxious. Stress means different things to different people. Everyone reacts and manages to stress in a different manner. Not one person is the same. External stress is a type of stress that you feel in your system caused by an aspect outside of your body. This can be anything like a teacher telling you have a 10-page assignment due in a couple of days and you're feeling the pressure from that. Or it can be social relationships like a friend being angry at you or a hectic work schedule as well. It can also be something more serious like a divorce, an illness in the family, or even debt problems. It's important to manage these types of stress because in the future it can harm you. There's also something called internal or self-imposed stress. Have you ever been worried about something you can do nothing about or for no reason at all? This is what you call self-imposed stress. Internal stress is one of the most important kinds of stress to try and deal with. Internal stress is when people make themselves stress out themselves. This tends to happen when worrying about things we can't control or change. We put ourselves in these positions. And situations like this will cause stress. Some people can even get addicted to it. When I'm talking about addiction, I'm not talking about sex or drugs or alcohol. This addiction is from a hurried, intense lifestyle that comes from stress. This is why it's important to manage and control internal stress. The main thing that causes these types of stress is called a stressor. A stressor is any type of physical, social, or mental event that causes our bodies to adjust. And this adjustment is your body trying to cope with the situation at hand. Stressors can be anything from job demands, relationships, to a schedule, or your kids just maybe driving you nuts. Stressors can also be tangible or intangible, and a tangible stressor can be something like a disgruntled roommate or your parents being angry at you. As for an intangible stressor, it comes within, it's your emotions. It has to do with, your emotions, like being nervous about going on a first date or meeting your boyfriend's or girlfriend's parents for the first time. There's also something called a stress response. In our everyday lives, we encounter situations and events that may elicit a stress response. Now, when you hear the word stress, everyone thinks it's a negative type of thing. But stress can also be positive, and this is called eustress. This positive stress, eustress, is positive, and it comes from a happiness and satisfaction. Anything like getting married, starting school, or beginning a new career. Although if you look on the other end, there's also distress. It can be caused by many things like financial problems, illness, or an injury perhaps. Most cases we cannot prevent eustress or distress. It's simply a part of your life and you have to deal with it. However, we can recognize these events that cause this and we can practice coping skills to deal with the problem better. Every human being attempts to achieve a state of balance in life. This is called homeostasis. When stress is perceived, the mind and body try to adjust with an adaptive response. This process has 3 stages and it is called general adaptation syndrome. In the first stage, the alarm phase, your body is disturbed by a stressor and your homeostasis is disrupted. Your brain then decides whether to fight or to run. The autonomic nervous system decides whether to do so. Your second phase is called your resistant phase. The resistant phase precedes the alarm phase. In this phase, your body has already reacted to the stressor and it has adjusted in a way that helps your body return to normal. And in the final phase, it's called the exhaustion phase. During the exhaustion phase, your body has no longer the energy to try and conquer the distress. Therefore, this is when illness or any type of sickness can occur. Eustress and distress have many types of sources, and these sources include psychosocial factors, environmental factors, and self-imposed factors. A psychosocial stress refers to social, mental, emotional, and spiritual dimensions of health. These components define how we perceive our lives, how we relate to one another, and how we react to stress. Some of these stressors can present bad threats to our mental or physical well-being. The first source of psychosocial stress is change. You will experience change at any part of your life, the good or the bad. The more changes you get into in your life means the more adjustments you'll have to make in the process. Another source that you will see as well is inconsistent goals and behaviors. For many people, negative stress comes from these goals and behaviors. And by goals, I mean is what you value or hope to achieve in your life, and in your behaviors or your steps you take to achieve these goals. For example, if you want to do well in a sport and you're in a competition, you'll want to train and eat healthy in between, which would be your behaviors. But an inconsistent behavior would be not training and not eating healthy, and then in the long run not achieving your goal. But if you consistently strive to attain your goals in a direct manner, your chances for success are greatly improved. But if you deviate from your plans, then your goal will not be achieved and it will not be able to be reached.
So she's all aware.
There's also another source called pressure.
Sure.
Pressure occurs when you feel forced to speed up, alter or intensify the direction of our behaviors. Pressure can be based on personal goals or it can come from others. Most people want to do well or impress someone, or that certain person expects lots from you, and the pressure is then intensified. Many of us are too concerned with what others think. This outside influence can comes from demands of society. The forces that push us to attempt to shape or change our minds into something that may not be realistic for something that we can reach. There's also more obvious types of stress, sources of stress like conflict. Conflict is the most common type that you'll see every day, and it occurs when you're forced to make challenging decisions concerning two or more behaviors or impulses. There's also overload. We can also experience as well. This occurs when you have excessive responsibilities, lack of support from family members or friends, or excessive expectations. When someone feels like they may have many responsibilities and are unsure of what to do or how to handle them, stress can occur. Students tend to feel stress overload quite often. They usually feel pressure or anxiety about tests or assignments. In severe cases, when students can't control stress, some fall into depression or gain weight and start to overeat. All this overload can also lead to burnout. And burnout is pretty much what it says. You experience burnout, you're just mentally exhausted. Psychosocial stress are things around us that affect what we do, but there's also something called self-imposed stress as well. This involves self-concept, how we feel about ourselves, our attitudes towards others, and our perceptions and interpretations. This comes from our cognitive system and recognizes stressors and evaluates based on self-concept, past experiences, and how we react with our emotions. Self-esteem is also closely related to our emotions from experiences.